And we end tonight's show with a story from New Zealand. It is trying to combat climate change. How? By taxing burps. Well, you don't have to swallow yours. New Zealand is taxing cattle burps. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern wants to make farmers pay for their burpy animals. A draft law was drawn up earlier this week. It says farmers will have to pay for the gas emitted from their farms. Reports say farmers are happy to comply. This law is the first of its kind, and its target is methane. What's methane? It is the second most common greenhouse gas after carbon dioxide. Meat moo, a major methane emitter. When cows burp, they emit methane. A single dairy cow produces 130 gallons of methane every day. How many cows are there around the world? Some 1.5 billion. Together, their burps contribute to 14% of global methane emission. That's quite an environmental nuisance. Recently, the UK came up with an idea. It designed burp-catching masks. The mask converts the methane in cow burps into carbon dioxide and water vapor. Now, New Zealand wants to jump onto the wagon and ride any free press that comes its way. New Zealand's law comes into effect from 2025, but will it work, and how will it work? How will it calculate which farm is emitting how much methane? At what rate will farmers be taxed? Like $1 per burp? Jacinda Ardern's government is yet to do the math, but it says it will be incentivizing farmers who help reduce methane emission. Neighbour Australia is feeding cows pink seaweed. Apparently, it helps cows burp less methane. Let's bring in the science here. Why do cows burp so much? Because they are fed plants that are nutritionally poor. Cows need to eat a lot of it to gain energy, and even after that, they sometimes chew the cud. This triggers incessant burping. Will taxing farmers stop the burping? Not really. The only thing farmers can control is the fodder. Apparently, some food additives help produce methane burps, the likes of garlic, essential oils, and seaweed. If New Zealand is serious about cutting down methane, incentivizing these additives can be a better strategy. While it chews on this idea, here are some stats. New Zealand has 10 million cattle, some 26 million sheep. Half of New Zealand's greenhouse gas emission comes from farming and agriculture. There are surely other strategies too that the government can adopt to reduce pollution from farming. Strategies that will give the country quantifiable results and not just the headlines. For example, New Zealand can reduce the use of synthetic fertilizers. But according to this Greenpeace report, the country has increased the use of synthetic nitrogen fertilizers by almost 7-fold. Alternatively, New Zealand can also address the source of the burp menace. We spoke about the fodder. Now let's look at the finance bit of the story. There is a reason why there are more cows than humans in New Zealand. The country depends heavily on its dairy industry. Reports say the dairy sector contributes more than 5% of the GDP in 7 regions and more than 10% in 4 of these regions. The dairy industry is a major source of employment, and it pays handsomely. It accounts for 20% of the country's exports. New Zealand does not want to stop milking this industry, but it wants to show that it's working towards meeting its Paris goals. So Ardern is taxing farmers for cattle burps, and farmers don't mind paying because they will in turn make the consumers pay more for meat and milk. So everyone in the supply chain gets to milk climate action, but the real issue gets butchered. So if you want to cut down on methane, don't pet so many cows. It's that simple. There is no use putting the burden of 5 million Kiwis on 10 million voiceless burpy cattle. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.